Good morning, Ms. Buckner. Good morning, Ms. Jones. This is my English and History presentation of learning. And I'm in grade 10, and my name is Tatiana Williams. So I'll start with English. I'm doing my character analysis on Guy Montag. So my analysis is that Guy Montag is a dynamic character who starts out as a conformist, but by the end of the story, he evolves into an extremely eccentric character. So eccentric means strange or unusual in this case. Do you want me to read my quote? Yeah? Okay, so this is a conversation between Guy Montag and Clarice. So she asked him, "Do you mind if I ask how long have you worked at being a fireman?" Since I was 20, 10 years ago. "Do you ever read any of the books you burn?" He laughed. "That's against the law." "Oh, of course. It's fine work. Monday, burn Malay. Wednesday, Whitman. Friday, Faulkner. Burn him to ashes. Then burn the ashes. That's our official slogan." So this shows that he is a conformist because he laughs at the idea of breaking the law. And he goes on to talk about how he likes his job by saying it's fine work. Yeah. My next quote, "We can't do anything. We can't burn these. I want to look at them, at least look at them once. Then, if what the captain says is true, we'll burn them together. We've got to start somewhere here, figuring out why we're in such a mess. We're heading right for the cliff, Millie. God, I don't want to go over it. This isn't going to be easy. We have to find anything to go on, but maybe we can piece it out and figure it and help each other." So this shows that he's starting to evolve into an eccentric character because he's starting to think about breaking the law, but he's not sure if it's the right thing or if it's what he really wants to do yet. So now he's starting to lean towards becoming eccentric. My last quote is, "You must remember, burn them or they'll burn you," he thought. Right now it's as simple as that. So this shows that he has officially become an eccentric character because burn them or they'll burn you. And the reason he had that thought was because the world is against him, because he's different from everyone else, because he sort of lives in a conformist world. And since he's so eccentric or strange, he has to run from them. And he has to run from that sort of world and those people.
Can you go to your first one?
Yes.
Yes. Who or what are Millie, Whitman, and Faulkner?
Maybe they're the authors of the books that he burns, or
That's one of them.
okay.
Go ahead, history.
Now I'll be doing my world history presentation. I'll be doing Essential Skill 3, the Industrial Revolution. So my thesis statement is, the Industrial Revolution has had a huge lasting impact on the world today, because without it, we would still have dangerous working conditions, intense child labor, and slow production of goods. So my first piece of evidence here is that death rates in factories were extremely high, and exhaustion contributed to deaths because it made them less alert while they were working with dangerous machinery. So my justification for how that changed the world today is that without that, we would have never realized that there needs to be safety laws and stuff like that to prevent death rates in factories, and also exhaustion, that helped us realize that we need to limit the hours that people are working so that they're not exhausted while they're working. My next piece of evidence is children's jobs were usually to move between dangerous machines because they were small enough to fit in between and behind the machinery. They were constantly exposed to dangerous machines. Children usually worked 12 to 14 hours a day. So that changed, because of this happening, that changed the world today because we passed the Factory Act of 1833, and that limited kids 9 and under from working, and that limited kids ages 10 through 13 from working more than 48 hours a week. So that was a huge impact today, preventing child labor, intense child labor. My next piece of evidence is that materials were produced quicker and cheaper, and demand for goods became higher, and more goods were becoming mass-produced. And that had an effect on the world today because a lot of the goods that we use are mass-produced, and without the Industrial Revolution, goods would probably be a lot more expensive. Yeah. Any questions?
No, any questions here, DBQ would appreciate it.
Okay, so for my DBQ, Ann Tyler, okay, so my sentence is, Ann Tyler wrote the book in our living room and gave my family a large, old, ugly vase. So Ann Tyler is a noun, wrote is a verb, the is an adjective, book is a noun, in I put as a preposition, but I wasn't really sure. Our is an adjective, living is an adjective, room is an adjective, and I put as a conjunction, and gave is a verb. My I put as a noun, family I put as a noun, a is a noun. Large I put as an adjective, old is an adjective, ugly is an adjective, and vase is a noun. So, Ann Tyler wrote the book in our living room. I put as a noun phrase. And that's the independent clause. And for the second part, I put, and gave my family a large, old, ugly vase. I put as a verb phrase, and it's a dependent clause.
Alright, what two parts do you need in an independent clause? What two phrases do you need in an independent clause?
Noun phrase.
And
Verb phrase.
verb phrase. So let's look. So Ann Tyler wrote the book in our living room. Who wrote the book?
Ann Tyler.
Ann Tyler. So we have our noun phrase. What did Ann Tyler do?
She wrote the book.
So we have our verb phrase. So Ann Tyler is our noun phrase. And then wrote the book would be our verb phrase. The verb phrase. And then you put in as a, what did you say?
In our living room.
Or what do you put for in?
Oh, for in and for preposition.
Perfect. So in our living room, we become what kind of phrase?
Preposition.
Preposition phrase. So the noun phrase and the verb phrase and the preposition phrase make the what clause?
Independent clause.
Independent clause, there you go. Alright, so let's look at the rest of this sentence. Why do we use the commas?
separate things
Separate things, where can we separate things?
after living room.
After living room, we can separate the two clauses, where else can we separate things?
Between the listing of the adjectives.
Very good, thank you. Okay, now you're you.
Go ahead and just read your thesis statement.
My thesis statement is down here. It says, Mary Wollstonecraft believes that the obstacles put in the way of women have caused inferior treatment.
Okay, so go ahead and read the question for me.
What does Mary Wollstonecraft say is the cause for inferior treatment of women?
Okay, so what does the question ask you?
What does she think is the cause?
Okay, so take a look at your thesis. Do you identify the cause of the inferior treatment?
That obstacles were put in the way.
Okay, so if we look at obstacles, who are those obstacles placed by?
Women?
Women? So women are standing in the way? You see where you underline obstacles in the way?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the text, I want you to go back and read that sentence again. Starting, you see where it says like the dot dot dot?
Yeah.
So read that next little phrase.
Government has put almost insuperable obstacles in the way to prevent the cultivation of the female mind.
Okay, so who's responsible for putting those obstacles there?
The government?
The government, okay? So can you go ahead and rephrase your thesis for me?
Mary Wollstonecraft believes that the government has caused many obstacles to be put in the way of women.
Beautiful, that's right. Okay, so go ahead and read me your evidence.
According to Mary Wollstonecraft, the government has put almost insuperable obstacles in the way.
And then your analysis.
She also believes that the government prevents females from going to school because the government wants to throw obstacles in the way.
Okay, I should just stop and review.